This is Dr. Madhu Yadla, working as Associate Professor in Marri Laxman Reddy Institute of Technology and Management. Today, I am going to discuss historical perspective and second topic, file system versus Dbms. So coming to the historical perspective or evaluation of Dbms. So before 1960s, there is no software related database to store the data. So data is a collection of facts and figures. So the data collection was increased day by day. So they need to be stored in a device or a software which is safer. So before 1960s, its devices are used to store. So after that, in early 1960s, Charles Beckman was introduced a database called integrated data storage, IDS. So this was the first DBMS developed by the Beckman. Before that, no software is used to store the data. So actually that is the first database system, IDS. So in late 1960s, so International Business Machine Corporation, IBM, developed another database called Integrated Management Systems, IMS. So which is the standard DBMS. Till date, many people are using this database, and actually it is based on the hierarchical data model. So coming to the next evaluation, in 1970s, relational database models was developed by Edgar Cart. So here relational database means relationships between the tables. So before that, they can perform operation on only single table. Here coming to the relational database, so it can capable of handling multiple tables. So many database models are used to today's relational database models. So that means many of the database models we use today are relational databases only. So after that, in 1970s, Peter Chem developed an ER model, entity relationship model. So it is purely based on the diagrammatic representation. So in this model, entities, attributes, relationships are the components for the ER model. So this is purely based on the diagrammatic representation, ER model. So that was developed in the 1976. So later during the decade of 1980s, so IBM developed. So previously IBM developed IMS. So in 1980s, IBM developed SQL language. So it is structure query language. So it is the one of the powerful language. It is query based language to store and access and retrieve the data. So that was happened in 1980s. After 1980s to 2000, so many database languages were introduced like Oracle, SQL, MySQL, DB2, etc. So many of the companies are using these technologies till now. So recent evolution in the databases is MongoDB. Actually, it was developed in the 2009 itself, but since 5 years, many of the companies are using this database, MongoDB database. So these 6 or 7 are evaluations of the databases. Here, in early 1960s, Charles Beckman was introduced IDS, integrated data store. In late 1960s, IBM was developed IMS, integrated management systems. In 1970s, relational model was introduced by the CARD. So it is based on the relations, so mapping of the tables. And in 1976, Peter Chem developed ER model. It is based on the entities, attributes and relationships. It is diagrammatic representation model. So later 1980s, SQL language was introduced by the again IBM company. So this is basically query processing language. After 1980s, after that 1980s to 2000, many database languages, SQL, MySQL, Oracle, DB2, etc. were introduced. So recent evaluation MongoDB that was introduced in the 2009. So coming to the second topic, file system versus Dbms. Here, nowadays we are mainly focusing on the Dbms. Before that, file system was there. So now I will try to compare the two types, file system and Dbms. Here, so coming to the meaning of file system, it is a collection of programs used to develop and running of that particular software to manage the files in a hard disk. So actually it is a collection of software tools or programs to run that particular software in a hard disk. And so back to actually there are limitations for this file system. When number of files are increased and we can store very less data. So as the data and files system, as the data and files grows, then handling becomes difficult. So this is one of the problem with the file system. So based on this system, were an early attempt to computerize the manual system. It is also called its traditional system or approach. So to overcome this, Dbms is replaced with that. So let us try to understand how the files are stored in the normal traditional file system. So here in this diagram, so three types of files are there. This is information about the student files. So one file is student file, another file is subject file, another one is result file. Three files are about student files, student related information only. So coming to the first student file, so it stores roll number, student name, course, phone number, address, room, subject name, marks, etc. So another file system, another file contains subject ID, subject name, course, room number, etc. So result file contains roll number, student name, course, subject name, marks, so etc. So these three files are maintaining individually. So this was happened in the case of file processing system. So but if we observe, so few common attributes are there in three files. Suppose assume that room number is common one. So and the marks, and similarly roll number also, it present in both student file and result file. So course also, it present in student file and subject file, and as usual course file, result file also. So subject name it present in student file and result file also. So this is the problem with the file system. So multiple attributes are storing. So it is wastage of storage. So here some fields are duplicated more than one in file. So room number present in both the files. So which leads to data redundancy. Here redundancy means duplication of data. So duplication of data means one data present in student file and as well as result file also. So to overcome this, so we need to create a centralized system, that is Dbms approach. Now we will see what are the advantages with the Dbms approach. Yeah, actually this is well organized collection of data. Dbms approach mainly concentrates on well organized collection of data, and it gives a related meaning and which can be accessed easily. So it can be accessed different users easily. So in the next slide I am going to show that. So the various operations performed by the DBM system are insertion, deletion, selection, sorting. So these types of operations are performed by using the DBMS. So these type of operations are not present in the traditional file system process. Now we will see how DBMS is mapped to all the files. Here in earlier previous diagram, so three types of users, they created their three different files: student file, subject file, result file. So now with the concept of DBMS, I am trying to mapping or integrating those three files with the help of DBMS. So what happens to map or integrated like this? Here, suppose this is the user 1 and this is the user 2, this is the user 3. So user 1 can access any one of the file. So suppose student user 1 can able to access the student file, also able to access the student file, also access to result file. Similarly, user 2 also is having the capability of accessing all these three types of files. Similarly, third user also having the capable of accessing so three types of files. So this is the one of the major advantages of the DBMS. So coming to the next one, suppose if user 1 is accessing student file, then user 2 can access the subject file. So concurrent accessing. So that is also possible with the help of DBMS. So what we are doing here is simply mapping or integrating the all files to the DBMS so that any user can access any type of files. So not only that, I have listed few differences between the DBMS and file system. So this table consists basic, that is the meaning out, and the second column DBMS approach, and the third one is the file system approach. So first thing it is the meaning. So actually both are collection of data only. DBMS is a collection of data and file system is also collection of data. So but It's not required to write the procedures. It's not required to write any big lengthy code or procedures. But here in this we required some procedures and functions to manage the database. So coming to the second difference, sharing of data. So due to the centralized approach, so data sharing is easy in the DBMS. We have seen in the last diagram. So we have next coming to the second file system. So it is distributed in many files and it may be on different formats. So accessing those or sharing of those formats is difficult. It's not that much easy when compared to the DBMS approach. Coming to the data abstraction, it gives the abstract view of data and hidden files in the DBMS. In case of file system provides so details of the data representation and storage of data. So coming to the fourth difference, security and protection. So DBMS provides a good protection mechanism with the help of authentication techniques like passwords. Next, it is not easy to protect the file system. It's not easy in the file system. So coming to the next difference, so recovery management. So in the case of DBMS, if any crashes are happened, so it have capable of recovery that protects from the system failures. So even though if particular file system fails in one particular database, it can access from the other data center. So in the case of file system doesn't have any crash mechanisms. The system crashes while entering in some data, then the content of the file will be lost. So there may be a chance of losing the data in this. Coming to the manipulation techniques, so DBMS contains a wide variety of sophisticated techniques to store and retrieve, to delete, or to modify the data. So in the case of file system cannot efficiently store and retrieve the data. So coming to the next difference, concurrency. DBMS take care of concurrent access of data for some form of locking. So we have seen in the previous diagram. So suppose one user is accessing one file and second user may access the another files. So this means it is the concurrency of accessing data. So in the case of concurrent access, in the case of file system, concurrent access has many problems like redirection while file is deleting some information or updation, or so it is little bit difficult of concurrency in this file system. So coming to the where to use, meaning where to use. So database systems use it in the large systems. So file systems also use it in the large system. It is related to many files, which is related to also many files. Coming to the cost wise difference, so DBMS cost is very expensive to design. So whereas file system is cheaper when compared to the DBMS approach. Here, data redundancy and inconsistency. Here, redundancy means elimination of duplicate data. So due to centralization of approach of database, the problems of redundancy and inconsistency are controlled. So due to the centralization, so we can easily identify the data redundancy and also we can remove by using the different types of normal forms. So in the case of file system, so the application programs are created by different programmers so that there exists a lot of duplication of data which may lead to the inconsistency. Here, duplication of data is more in the case of files processing system. So coming to the structure, so DBMS structure is very complex structure when compared to the file system. So file system is a very simple structure. So coming to the data independence, here DBMS provide here data independence means so whenever any changes made in the layers of a database, it won't affect to the another layers. Here DBMS have special two types of mechanisms of data independence: logical data independence and physical data independence. With the two types of independence, it maintains the data independency. So in the file system approach, there exists no data independence. So coming to the integrity constraints. So integrity constraints are easy to apply. So in the case of file system, integrity constraints are difficult to implement in file system. So coming to the flexibility, here we can make the changes easily in the case of DBMS. So in the case of file system, the flexibility of the system is very less and compared to the DBMS. So coming to the examples of DBMS, we have already discussed Oracle, MySQL, uh, and Sybase, DB2, MongoDB. All are the examples of the DBMS. So examples for the file systems, it includes COBOL, C++, C compilers, Java compilers, etc. So all these are the differences I have listed regarding DBMS versus file system. So all these are the references I have taken. This is about the file system versus DBMS and history perspective of the DBMS. So thank you for watching this video.